Hey there, my name is Pravus, and welcome to an upcoming game called Thrive! Heavy Lies the Crown. This is a new medieval city builder that is currently going through a closed beta phase until December 11th, and then we'll be entering into early access in 2024. I've got access to the closed beta because the publisher, Playside Studios, has offered to sponsor today's video so I can show off what this game has to offer and hopefully pique your interest. So of course, a very big thank you to them for that, and if you guys would like to learn more about the game, you can find a link in the description down below. If you want to try out the closed beta for yourself, you can request access on the Steam page up until December 11th. Other than that, you'll just have to wishlist the game and follow its development. Now we're going to jump into single player and I'll show you as much about this game as I can, though I should note, Thrive does support cooperative multiplayer and also competitive antagonistic multiplayer. And that is something that's actively being tested right now in this closed beta. Not something you usually see in these types of games, so I'm curious how this will continue to develop. But for now, single player will do. And welcome to a new realm where I will establish my kingdom. We are actually refugees fleeing our previous home in the kingdom of Aldemor because it is currently being plagued by a mysterious and seemingly magical fog called the Waelgrim, which has brought unprecedented destruction onto our realm. We are going to establish a new kingdom that hopefully is able to survive, and along the way we might have to make a few difficult moral choices that hopefully will shape up to a prosperous society, but you never really know. I'm gonna go ahead and play in a place called Dranoth. I don't think it really matters too much where you play, this just could be kind of fun. We can see what kind of qualities this realm would normally have, what resources are available, and right now we're stuck with this existing default like flag scheme, but you can see we will be able to change all of that later on as the game continues to develop. Certainly be aware that as we play this is an early access version of the game. Some things are subject to change. So you might find that this game changes between now and its release, but that is something that developers have said they specifically do want, is plenty of active beta testers who are providing feedback to help shape the direction of this game and where they can best apply their efforts. So we'll see what happens. 2 months. It has been 2 months since the fall of Aldemor, since I gathered the survivors and set out for a new home, and we've talked about this already. My advisors are very competent, but none can deny their own interests. Everyone has a plan for your reign. Where do my interests lie? Well, we could say wisdom, vigilance, or prosperity. I guess I'll say prosperity, that should be fine, though I don't know what impact that's going to have in the game. We'll talk more about choices in just a minute. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is take our caravan. This is kind of our starting unit, and we can move it over to, let's say, right around here. And then I'm going to deploy this thing, and we can place down our keep. This is our royal home, our starting structure, our center of governance, and pretty much where everything is going to be run from here on out. So let's go ahead and place this right down over here. And what we will see now is all of our people are going to come running over here and start clearing out the site. Fortunately, we already start with the 200 logs and rough stones necessary in order to build out this keep. That said, this is still going to take a little while, so I'll move on to 3 times speed while they work. One thing I'm really interested in with this game is going to be the moral choices that will face you as the game progresses. I talked a little bit about that before, but there is going to be a sort of alignment system within the game between benevolence and tyranny. And depending on what you do, those are going to have profound impacts on your city, and that will be reflected in the aesthetic of the city as well as how it is run. I'll show you a couple of clips from the Steam store page just so you can see what I am talking about. Sadly, this is not included in the closed beta, so I'm not going to be able to explore this much, but I think there's a lot of really cool potential in turning this into either a horrific hellscape worthy of Mordor or into an extremely prosperous and benevolent town. Kind of a cool idea. We'll see how that continues to develop, again, as the game continues moving on toward early access. Anyway, the keep is now done. Excellent. We need to build some stockpiles. No problem. We'll go down to farmer structures. There's actually a few different build tabs over here. So we've got logistics where you can place down roads and various different camps in order to harvest resources or maybe do some farming. And then the farming down over here itself is where we can place down things like these stockpiles. So let's say that I want to have one of these right over here, right next to the keep. Makes a lot of sense. Seems like a place where you're going to want to have a lot of stuff so you can deliver it rapidly around the town. Also notice this has a square, not quite radius, because, I mean, it's not round, it's not exactly a radius, but it is a zone of effect. Areas of influence is what they are called. This will allow the farmers who work here to collect and deliver resources within the settlement. So ideally, you want to place this kind of close to the center of your town. The next thing I'll go ahead and do is place down something like, let's say, a courier camp, and we'll place this over here, again, within range of that stockpile, because I think that'll be good, plus a logger camp. Why not? We'll go ahead and place down both of these so that people will be able to start chopping down some trees or gathering up some stone. And you can actually see a number of people are already employed employed here. We can choose to reduce the number of people who are allowed to be employed here or not. For some structures, we actually can affect the range of the area of influence. Not all, though. This is good for things like camps where you're gathering up resources, but it's not something we'd be able to do with the primitive stockpile. Anyway, with that taken care of, we now need a couple more things. We need to get ourselves a food store where we can actually place down a lot of our food. So let's say we want to have that right around over here. I think that's going to be okay. We also need to place down a well so people can gather up some water. So how about we place that right over, I guess here's fine. Now, while they're working on all this, let's take a look at the menu up on the top. So we have a few different things we can keep an eye on, including some various different events. We have a Tome of Knowledge, which will be used for a kind of technology. We'll worry about a lot of that later. We have diplomacy, because again, this game could be cooperative and multiplayer, so maybe you want to interact with some of your neighbors. Trade will be an important aspect of the game. We don't have that yet. Some various different edicts, our laws will be able to pass, and then jobs. I wanted to show this off here because right now we have 5 unemployed people who are going to be dropping off resources at the food stores, so this thing can get built as I gather up my stone and my logs. We started with none, so I had to wait for a lot of this to be gathered. After that's done, we'll be able to say, hey, builders are a higher priority and such. Go ahead and start working over here. Or no, I'd rather you guys work at the primitive stockpile, etc. One thing I would love to see in this game later on is maybe the ability to manipulate the number of people working in some of these different jobs from this exact menu, but we will see. In the meantime, now that all resources have been delivered, 2 builders are going to get to work and start constructing. And I do like that we can kind of see it building up piece by a little piece, you know, just a little bit of extra detail. Okay, this is now set up. This is a place where our farmers are going to gather up the food that we start making and bring it over to a central location where we will be able to disperse that amongst the population. Speaking of which, we need to get some farmers' houses, so let's go ahead and get some of these structures and place a few of these down. Again, this will cost me some stone and some logs. We'll go ahead and place a handful kind of along here. We need to build about 12 of these dang things, actually, and we want to place it in range of the food and the water at a bare minimum. Okay, that should just about take care of all 12 houses. Now, the next thing we need to keep an eye on are the needs of my citizens. If we click on a house here, we can actually see a few important details. For example, we can see the health of a house, and, you know, of course, fires and stuff could burn it down, or raiders could destroy them, that's a thing. And we can see the happiness of the occupants. Every one of these houses can provide a bed for up to 4 individuals. There's also a handful of different events that could be affecting the happiness and so on. And then down here, we see needs. So there's not actually some text on a lot of this stuff. I know it says default. That is something that is going to be added in eventually later on. But we can see that, for example, the need for a food store and such has been met, but we don't have any fire yet. Firewood. We'll need to take care of that. And apparently, while I've been talking, the game is trying to thrust me into Chapter 1 with an introduction. Fair enough. I'm sure I've been rambling. Together, we must determine where best to focus your efforts in this fledgling kingdom. Hello, Chancellor. He says our people should be rewarded for their resilience. The knight says, well, yeah, that's all good, but we need to have a strong defense in order to find the courage to rise once again. And I'm like, yeah, both of those make sense. And the Duke, who, by the way, just look at that face. I don't know if I trust this guy at all. He's like, you know what we need? Profit. Sufficient coin is necessary in order to inspire the people and actually grow our kingdom. So this kind of ties back into the original 3 choices we had. So, do we want security? Do we want wealth? Yeah, I don't really know which one's going to be best here. Chancellor, how best do we help our people? Well, there's a few things. We need procurement of life's necessities. We need to focus on food, shelter, and other essentials. Kind of agree with that. If you don't have the basic foundation and infrastructure, how can you expect to grow your kingdom? I agree with the Chancellor. We now have a new settling in introductory quest. We need to make 250 apples. Yeah, that's fine. So actually, first things first, though, let's go ahead and take care of some of the needs of my people, because we saw firewood here, and I stand by that as being important. Let's place down a wood chopper. The wood chopper probably needs to be next to our stockpile, so we'll do something like this. Again, as long as it's within range of this area of influence, I think it's going to be fine. But closer has to be better, right? And we gradually watch this get built up, again, from the ground up, every little detail. That's kind of fun to watch, honestly. And it looks like this is going to employ only 1 farmer once it is done, so this will take my logs and start turning it into firewood. Unfortunately, I don't have anybody who is unemployed, so no one can fill that job. Let's pull back on the quarrier and on the logger just so we have some people able to work over here. And we don't need this many people in the food stores, I think. We're not even producing any food yet. There we go. Now we're producing firewood. And as this starts getting produced and dropped off in the stockpile, we should see that this need is going to be met, so happiness should go up. Next thing we know we're going to need to worry about are the apples. So let's go ahead and place down an orchard, and I'll go ahead and do something kind of on the edge, I think, of my space. Let's say around here is probably fine. Something within range of our food stores, right? So we'll get this thing built up. We've only got one farmer over here at the moment. Let's actually pull back again on the food stores. Maybe one less on the quarrier for now. And that at least gives me 3 farmers over here so we can start planting down the orchards and get some apples so I'll have some food to go around. And actually, I think I misunderstood something. We don't have a quest to get 250 apples. I was given 250 apples. Oh, well, that's fine. So then as we see the firewood being taken care of, I see the apple symbol right here. Once we have 25 farmers in our town, we have a new need to unlock, and I'm already in a good position to do that. So, okay, cool. People are joining my colony as we speak. We're up to 21 population. We'll just have to wait for number 25 to come in. Let's go ahead and click on the happiness up over here. We can kind of see how this works. So right now, everyone's feeling pretty happy. If I were to increase taxes, obviously this goes down because nobody likes paying taxes, and when people are unhappy, production goes down, and so on. Lots of bad things happen when you have very unhappy people. If 20 or more individuals of the same class are discontent, there's a chance for a revolt. Fascinating. Citizens in the state will gather outside of the keep, shouting and rising torches to show their anger, and that's going to destroy our production based on their happiness level. Well, that doesn't sound good. Let's try to avoid that. Now, one thing I haven't shown you yet up in the jobs category is we do have different classes. So we've been only worried about farmers up to this point, though if you click over here, we can see that there will be a laborer population. I don't have anybody able to fulfill that category yet, but we probably will. And now I'm up to 27 population, by the way, so we should see that apples are indeed a need. But good news, everyone, I'm already meeting it because I'm just that awesome. There we go. All right, so that's all taken care of. We have 40. This should unlock a few new things we need to worry about. So let's go ahead and start growing some hemp. Necessary to start producing some clothing for my people, and it does look like this is something that should be within our primitive stockpile. So that's fine. Let's go ahead and plant down a quick crop. And I'll bet we need to do some other stuff with that. Let's see. We just unlocked the fermenter, which can make cider, beer, and mead. Okay. Lumberyard will make planks, a new building resource we'll need later on. And there's the outfitter, produce the hemp clothing. Let's go ahead and preemptively build one of these things out here. I am very confident I'm going to need it. There we go. And sure enough, the game is saying you need to build up an outfitter so you can start making some clothing and stuff. If we take a look here at the farmer housing, I do not see evidence. Oh, wait, hang on. I can't. It's hard to tell what this symbol is when it's shaded like this, but I think this is clothing and this will be cider. That would make sense since we're currently producing the apples and we're now going to be able to make some hemp clothing. So let's assume that those are 2 things I'll need to worry about. Let's get myself a fermenter and I'll place this right up over here. Looks like there's going to be an event here pretty soon. The soil is rich on its surface, but the farmers doubt its stability mere feet below, which could inhibit the growth of rich, reliable produce. Okay, we have some new concerns. It's quite possible that we simply lack the knowledge on how to grow in this new continent. Probably has something to do with the Waelgrim, which, by the way, has been building up, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. We may need to find someone local, or maybe do some technology or something. Do you think it's possible to get a farmer in this area who knows these lands? I mean, that would make a lot of sense. We need a scout. Okay, fair enough. Hopefully we can retain a local seasoned farmer who will teach us how we can properly grow crops in this land. I was feeling pretty good about ourselves until that moment. Now, what's up here? We have some sort of a purple bar building up. Waelgrim presence at 92.2%. Well, I don't know what this happens when we hit 100%. I'm going into this somewhat blind, but we're going to find out, I'm betting. There we go. Now we get to learn more about the Waelgrim. The purple meter below the resource bar displays the current level of the Waelgrim, that mysterious force manifesting in a number of different ways, and the reason we had to leave our former home in the first place, as it basically just got people killed, poisoned water, just made the land horribly unlivable. An unpredictable outcome will occur in one of our provinces whenever this has filled up. And actually, we can already see this purple haze that is currently surrounding the village. What is it doing? I don't currently know. I can't imagine it's good. Sometimes it can be. I don't know. I mean, there's supposedly rumors that the Waelgrim actually can be benevolent in some way. It may actually end up getting tied to the decisions that we make between being benevolent or tyrannical later on when that feature gets enabled. I'm not sure. Let's take a look at that fermenter over here, by the way. Okay, so we can see the production and output that is currently available in some of our places. So we've got our cider, beer, and so on. So 5 apples and 20 water is going to make our cider. Okay, fair enough. And now that we've reached the 50 population we were looking for, we can fulfill the luxury needs for our farmers as well. So we've created a certain paradise down here. I feel pretty good about that. That seems pretty benevolent. Whoa, a farmer's house is on fire. Oh, God, yes, it is. Okay, a couple of houses are on fire, actually. Well, who burnt the popcorn? Great, and the fire is spreading to everything now, including our food stores and so on. Looks like people have to travel from the well to gather some water and extinguish things, which makes perfect sense, but this is an opportunity to see how the health of a building starts to go down whenever, you allow horrible things like this to happen. It's also probably a really good reason why we shouldn't necessarily build as densely as I have been up to this point. I was just trying to take advantage of the area of interest and make this really tight and compact, but it looks like I'm getting punished for that one a little bit. All right, fair enough. Leave space so that the fires don't spread aggressively. Oh, okay, the next event has occurred. Waelgrim whispers. Oh, unsettling report. The corpses of 3 animals, guts removed, adorned a makeshift altar within a farmer's house. Terrifying and creepy and occult. All right, speak plainly. What do you make of the scene? Oh, great. Somebody from these lands must have conducted this ritual. Unusual symbols on the walls of the main room centered around the altar. Absolutely creepy. I'd be curious to know more. Yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe the locals aren't so good. What could the strange symbols mean? You mean there's crystals as well? Oh yeah, there are actually some sort of weird crystals apparently going on here. They spring up in all manner of places on this continent. Nothing like this ever existed in Aldemore. Huh, there are magenta ones. They cause confusion and lightheadedness when they're nearby. Oh goody, psychic crystals. Now we have some planks. Okay, with these we can place down laborer houses. And laborer houses is what's going to get some more immigration of a new class. Perfect. Also, we can construct a tavern, which apparently is going to be a sort of happiness building specific to the laborers. So wherever we end up having that population center, we want to make sure we have this nearby as well. How about right over here? I've got a well already getting built in this area, and we probably also need another food store, unfortunately. So we'll do something kind of like this. I know there's a little bit of overlap, but that's fine. Here we go. Looks like a tavern is being put together. Requires a load of hemp in order to build. It's a little bit weird, I guess. Tablecloths. Oh, yeah. Hemp tablecloths. Very prestigious. Anyway, all right. So this is now set up. Unfortunately, we don't have anyone able to work here right now because we still don't have any laborers. That's fine, though. Food stores are done, so we can start farming more stuff if we want to. And I am a little bit low on the apples. And here come the houses. Now, these should look at least a little bit different from the farmer houses because, well, obviously these are made with much higher quality materials. Oh, you can even tell from the roof. Look at that. I spit upon your thatched farmer houses. These look terrible. Now, the laborers are far richer and more useful to me, right? Probably. Anyway, they can have 5 occupants in them. Looks like we also need to have firewood. I don't recognize a couple of these symbols. I do see that we have some beer needs. That probably will go into, let's say, a tavern. Okay, all that's fine. There's other stuff here as well. Craftsmen, so we can make various different luxury goods. Cookhouses. Traders' huts for trading and stuff. Okay. And more opened up over here in the farming areas, including a pork ranch. Which requires, it looks like, some rope and stuff. So we don't even have this yet. We're going to need laborers for that. And eventually a stable to get some horses so we can make caravans and some cavalry. I don't think I mentioned yet that military units are very much going to be a thing in this game because there are threats out there you'll have to defend yourself from. Fortunately, we have a little bit of plot armor right now during the tutorial phase, so I think we're okay. And hereth cometh another event, crystalline. Strange crystal formations have crept their way throughout the province. There's stuff happening in the background too, pause! Alright, they seemed harmless, but in large clusters, they cause serious issues and people get nauseous. Yeah, this continent is weird and creepy. Y'all sure you don't want to just pack up and, like, maybe go to a different place now? A stranger stands before me. They outstretch their arms. Within their arms are clusters of the very crystals cradled into their flesh. They do not harm me. Would you like to know why? Okay, you're creepy, but yes, color me curious. Who are you? Who are you to gently cradle these things? I am the one who has walked these lands far longer than any Vi for now. Hey, do you know how to grow things here? We're looking for a really talented farmer or something. Anyway, let's see. So the crystals are placed before me, reaching into their cloak and draw some parchment. Withstand the crystal's power. In time, you'll see their full potential. Interesting. And now the stranger is gone. Apparently there is a special oil that preserves the crystals while suppressing their volatile nature. And we are now enabled to stockpile the crystals. Okay. Well, aside from that, we need to get some craftsmen up and running, and we also need to get some trade, apparently. And that suits me just fine. Right now, my laborers are just kind of sitting around and being lazy. They're doing absolutely nothing, except for the one who is industriously working in the tavern. That's it. So let's go ahead and get myself a craftsman up and a running so we can start making some rope. I'm betting we're gonna need some more hemp. Sure enough, a couple of hemp produces a rope. It looks like we'll also be able to start crafting some furniture at some point. Not that I'm needing that right now. We don't have the planks or the iron ingots to spare, but that is interesting. So where are these crystals that people are talking about? Have you seen any? Anyone spotted any crystals in my domain? Bet you we find them later. What? Never mind, crystals! How did I miss that? There they are. Right. Okay, you can even see the evil emanating from these things. We want nothing to do with this, at least for now. At least until I can develop whatever this special oil is that allows me to contain them. The trader's hut has now been established. Okay, so we want to find a unique and valuable resource such as wheat, iron, and fish. Not found in this particular province, but nearby, we might be able to find them. So if we select the caravan and deploy it, it can be loaded with resources, and then it must be deployed within range of a stockpile. Okay, we can build additional caravans from the military tab. If I click down over here, sure enough. Right, I've got planks, I've got rope, so this is going to be an option for us. But I've already got a caravan, so my question becomes, what can I do with this? Well, we can deploy it near a stockpile, which will do. Not enough space to deploy. Not enough space. How about over here, then? Can you deploy? Deploy, dang it! The caravan is now ready to be loaded. We can click on this and automatically load various resources. Specifically, what I want is stone and logs, I think. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, hang on. So we can just click on this, and we can say, please pile up everything we are going to need to build a trader's hut later on. Oh, it looks like in addition to resources, we also had to store about 20 of my farmers. Interesting, okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and deploy the caravan like so, and then drive to a wheat-producing province. Okay, looks like this is where I zoom way out on the map over here and start looking for something that's going to have wheat, like this one right over here. So can I say move here? Oh, I absolutely can do that. Okay, yeah, go forth, my little wagon friend. Look at this. We're actually able to travel between areas. Oh, that's actually kind of sweet. All right, well, let's just go ahead and set ourselves up right over Mya. Drive into a wheat-producing province. I believe I've done that now. So with this, we should be able to deploy and set up a trader's hut in this general vicinity like so. There we go. Now this thing is built. Okay, so we can start placing down some wheat farms, and since that's the primary reason I'm moving people over here in the first place, let's go ahead and place a few of these down. And I'm going to assume in this new area we also want to start gathering up some logs and stones so we can build a lot of our basic necessities and create kind of a small little outpost town over here where I can farm up all the wheat, and then once we've collected 50, we will probably be able to set up some trade routes. And from here, we should be able to say, I want to send, let's see, where's food, I assume is here. There we go, and wheat. Send as much as you're able. And maybe it would make some sense to also say, I'd like to receive some firewood. Not much, mind you. Let's say 30. Plus maybe some apples or something, just so these people are going to be happy. Click on this. All right, the trade route needs a name. We will call it Wheat Run. Except, and in theory, I've now got trade routes. Hey, that's actually kind of nifty. An envoy has arrived from a kingdom called Wiramaxa. He is the ruler of this entire continent. Is he indeed? My kingdom must pay an annual tithe of 10%. Yeah, they ask a lot of us. They have no rights. We worked hard to get where we are. I mean, did we even check the de jure land on this? Apparently we are the trespassers here. I don't know, the knight thinks we should just not do anything for a little bit. Postpone. Risky. All right, we're going to try it. Let's see. He shakes his head in disbelief and will return to his ruler with your suggestion, though he's not convinced it will be received well. Time will tell. Yeah, got a bad feeling we got an army heading our way pretty soon. What are some other things I could get? Well, we built up a cookhouse. Over here, we can start producing laborer meals or light military rations. Interesting. Okay. Well, we're using some firewood plus some pork and some apples. Those are delicious together. I can totally, pork chops and applesauce. That's a reference that many of you are way too young to understand. But yeah, these two go well together. I approve of your taste so far, guys. We're supposed to get a smelter. I don't mind getting myself a smelter. That's fine. But that's where I need to have this second caravan. We need to find a place that has some iron, and it's all pretty far away, unfortunately. That said, we can go ahead and get ahead of the game and start producing an armory. And this place, I should be able to start training some soldiers, provide training and weaponry, allowing them to challenge those who might threaten the prosperity and security of my new empire. Oh, good. Flash find. Remnants of a large abandoned mine have been discovered. Okay. Well, do we... Let us benefit from the potential spoils left behind. Let's see if this was a horrible mistake. We lost 6 laborers. That's fine. They'll probably just repopulate in the houses, right? And we get 25 iron ore. Was it worth it? Not at all. But there you go. And in come the iron ingots. Okay, I'm willing to bet that we're going to have to smelt these into weapons somehow. Oh, that's going to be a little bit tricky. We also should consider building ourselves a barracks, which is going to train and accommodate soldiers of our kingdom, which makes a lot of sense to do things like that. So we'll place it up over, how about here? Also, I'm going to build another cookhouse with the anticipation that I need to start preparing some of these light military rations. Since we already kind of know that that's a thing, I'll just go ahead and get ahead on that one. Plus, if we're going to be importing some wheat and stuff like that, and we do not have any excess wheat, so we need to start importing more of that, might make sense to get myself some extra fermenters and start providing some beer and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that is something that the laborers are currently requesting. Oh, hey, we did find a willing farmer who's willing to teach me how to do stuff. What reward did I get? I don't know if I actually got one. Maybe that's something that's going to get added in later. Or, even better, that might be something that's going to end up becoming part of the technology thing. You know, this whole tomes of knowledge? Farmer house bonus. Yeah, see, this would make sense. Alas, this is all work in progress, so nothing I can do there. Whoa, what is this? Grimrot Camp, barbarians. Oh, hello. Hold on. There are some barbars encamped outside of my city, huh? Well, that makes me a little bit on the heckin' concerned side of things. Okay, hang on. Insufficient resources to train units. Well, duly noted. How do I get weapons, though? Maybe that's another laborer structure I haven't got yet. The blacksmith. There it is. Iron ingots into tools and weaponry. Right. All right, let's work on that. There's also a bowyer and a fletcher, which can use logs in order to help support hunters and ranged defenders. Well, that seems useful as well. And what is this thing? Ooh, a vault. Collect taxes from your citizens. Well, y'all know I love collecting lots of taxes from my citizens. We'll place it close to the capital. I do seem to be struggling a little bit with logistics here and how to make this all work, though. We have plenty of iron and planks. It's next door to the blacksmith. Somehow, though, this primitive stockpile continues to deliver things where I don't want. Is there like an upgraded version of this somewhere? Because that would actually be very helpful if I could get myself an upgraded stockpile that can employ, like, let's say 8 people or something like that. Oh, all of a sudden, then, I'd be in pretty good shape. What is this thing, by the way? The Grim Stores, a safe house for the crystals found after surges. And throughout the provinces requires flax oil to prevent the crystals stored from becoming volatile. There are more of these crystals than before. Oh, is that what's happening with all of these Waelgrim surges? Oh. And here comes the barracks. There we go. All right. And now we need to get armor and stuff. Oh, boy. Right. Yeah, okay. That's something I need 40 laborers for. I've started preemptively building a few houses for this exact purpose. Oh, gosh. And the Grimrot are attacking. Where? They are traveling along a road, it looks like. Okay. there are scary-looking axemen who are surfing down the road. Wah! All right, that's pretty sick. I can't even be mad. That said, I am going to be a little bit mad in a second when they inevitably attack me, and I have no real way of defending myself because I still do not have the stuff that I need. Oh, I can see that they're running around inside my town. I'm pretty sure they're just going over here and trying to just steal things from me or something. Is this just like a plague we have to just sort of accept, you know? Are they leaving? Oh, wait, we can see exactly what they stole. Some clothes and something unknown. Well, if I don't know what it was, I'm probably not going to miss it that much. I've also built up an infirmary, which apparently employs a lot of people in order to start curing the flu that's been going around, because it has been terrible. Well, let's say that I want to go ahead and create 10 spearmen real quick then. The game says to make light archers. I did not see light archers as an option at the armory, because otherwise I would love to have trained them, but I do not see that as an option, so I'm going to assume that that is a feature that still needs to be added in. So now I have 10 spearmen located over here at the barracks, which is great. But I don't know what to do next if I'm not able to train any bowmen, because that is the quest. So what I'm going to do now is take all of these spearmen and tell them they're going down this direction. We're going to go in a nice little box formation. Testudo formation! And let's find the barbars. And let's go and kill said barbars. There we go. Okay, cool. I can take the fight to them! Yeah! Oh man, they just stand there one at a time and let me stab them to death. Beautiful! Take him down and then destroy the barbarian encampment, if and you please. And that should prevent any more raiding forces, at least until the next one spawns. Hooray! I'm pretty sure I need to take a caravan over here to grab the resource crate, though, so we can't even enjoy the rewards for right now. But there we go! Alright, so if I had a whole bunch of archers, obviously that would have been even easier. But the point is, you're supposed to be able to use the military. Imagine you're playing in a co-op mode, right, where someone else has set up some cities and they're colonizing a few different territories and you're working together. Or maybe even eventually a multiplayer mode where people can actually fight each other. Yeah, that could get kind of hectic pretty quick, actually. I dig it. Unfortunately, I do think we may need to end this video here because I'm kind of stuck if I'm unable to move on. So that's just something that hasn't been added in yet, and we're not going to be able to take full advantage of it. The only other thing I could think to do would be to start producing flax oil and gathering up crystals, but I also don't think we have anything to do with that right now, nor can I go through the Tomes of Knowledge. So basically, we're just kind of coming to the end of what is going to be the closed beta, and most of the other features just need to be added into the game at some point soon. So this is kind of more of a proof of concept than anything else, and honestly, I think this game has a lot of potential. Obviously, there's a ton of excitement around all the different production chains and stuff that can go into it. I do think the logistics system could use a small improvement, but hopefully that gets better over time as the AI improves, and maybe some upgraded versions of the primitive stockpiles so we can have more workers, keep everything flowing nicely. The idea of colonizing all these extra territories is pretty cool. I like the idea of a lot of trade routes, creating massive amounts of prosperity, and military conquest could be cool. The only thing we're really missing then, that I think would really help sell this game, is that alignment system between being benevolent or a dictator, right? And I'm telling you, it looks pretty sweet what you're going to be able to do. Oh, also avoid the flu. The flu is absolutely obliterating me right now. Thank you all very much for watching this video. I hope you found this helpful and informative as far as what this game is going to have to offer as it enters into early access next year. Remember, you can still apply to try out the closed beta for yourself up until December 11th. Otherwise, there's going to be that link in the description down below so you can follow the game's development and wishlist it if you so desire. Again, thank you to the publisher for today's sponsorship, and thank you all for watching. Hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, make sure you hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.